I love the story. I've loved his story for a while now as the Browns fan here. But is there Josh Dobbs regret this week around the league? Like, have you heard from people? Man, I mean, look what he did. We could have fixed our temporary quarterback injury issue with that guy.
Well, I mean, anytime that you have a guy who plays like Josh Dobbs did last week, Andrew, there's probably half the teams in the league, half the owners going, why didn't we get this Dobbs? He was sitting out there. He's a free agent. He's been traded. He's been on practice squads. Where was he?
5 teams in 11 months.
Right. I mean, and he's the only quarterback ever, once he starts this game for the Vikings this week, who has started for 3 different teams in a calendar year, all with less than 3 weeks to prepare. The only other guy who's ever done it, period, is Baker Mayfield, who did it twice
bonkers.
In a 365-day scam.
Yeah.
Span. Dobbs has done it now after this week 3 times in less than a year, but every one of those he's arrived. He's had a grand total of 30 days from signing to playing with each of those teams, which is just completely wild. And we'll see. I mean, I would say this. I made this point on the Insiders earlier this week. In my mind, Kevin O'Connell, he got 1 Coach of the Year vote last year when he won 13 games. Kevin O'Connell this year, if this Vikings team stays afloat, if they somehow get into the playoffs, has to be one of, if not the front runner for Coach of the Year. You go to that game last week, he's got his running back Cam Akers, who would increasingly kind of become the guy in the backfield. He gets hurt. You don't have the best receiver in the NFL in Justin Jefferson. You are down not just Kirk Cousins, but Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall, so the top 3 quarterbacks. You got a guy who's been there for 5 days, and you find a way to come out and beat the Falcons on the road, one of the teams you're competing with in the NFC. And, the boldest move that the Vikings made in the offseason from an addition standpoint was moving on from Ed Donatel, bringing in Brian Flores, totally different personality, totally different scheme. And look what the Vikings have done defensively, especially over the last 6 weeks or so here. O'Connell's done a phenomenal job. His next task is taking not just the sneak attack, Josh Dobbs going out there. We don't really know what he's going to do or what they might scheme for him in his defense. You're just thinking, can we tackle this guy? I don't know how many times he's going to get loose and just dance around people and dive for first downs and touchdowns. Now you're into, okay, what are they actually going to do with Josh Dobbs? And Dennis Allen's going to have a plan of attack for that. I'm really interested to see now, with a week on both sides, a week for Dobbs to prepare, but also a week for the defense to prepare for him. What's it going to look like?
Right. And let's not forget, they did only win with Josh Dobbs 1 game in Arizona over the first 2 months of the season. That's not all on the quarterback, but let's not forget that's the recent history. But you could have imagined, hey, what the Falcons would have been like with Josh Dobbs, what the Browns would have been like 2 weeks ago in Seattle. They would have beaten the Seahawks potentially with Josh Dobbs, or what the Jets might have looked like on Monday night with Josh Dobbs.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.